In this video, we're going to be taking a look on pages Access 58 and 59, in which we're going to be using the form layout view. After watching this video, you should be able to resize controls in the layout view and format controls in the layout view. Now, the layout view lets you make some design changes to a form while you are browsing the data. For example, you can move and resize controls, add or delete a field in the form, filter and sort data, or change formatting characteristics such as fonts and colors. When we go to step 1 on page Access 58, it tells us that we want to right-click the Tours entry form. So we go down here to our Tours entry form, in which we created in the first video. We right-click it, and in this case, we want to go to the layout view. So in our shortcut menu that appears, we click on Layout View. Now in the layout view, you can move through the records, but you cannot enter or edit the data as you can in the form view. In step 2, it tells us that we want to click the Next Record button in the navigation bar twice to move to the third record. So we go to our third record, which should be the Bigfoot Rafting Club. Now, you often use Layout View to make minor design changes, such as editing labels and changing formatting characteristics. In step 3, you want to click the Tour Number label, or where it says Tour No label. So when we click on this, that's going to select it if it's not already selected. If you click on it again, it's actually going to go ahead and put the insertion point into it, as you see here. And we're going to click between the words Tour and No. Then we're going to press the space bar, because ordinarily between our fields we don't generally put spaces. But however, on an entry form, you would like to have those spaces so it's a little bit easier for your end user or for the person that's going to be using this form to actually use. So we're going to have Tour and No and have a space between it. Now in this case, we also want to edit just a few more labels. So in step 4, it tells us that we want to continue editing the labels as shown in figure C-5. So let's take a look here, and I'll go through these with you. We want to select the tour name, and then we want to click on it a second time to place our insertion point between tour and name, and we want to put a space in between tour and name. And once again, this is just a way of editing the text that's inside of this label control. And once again, remember that controls is anything that's on a form. Then we want to go and select the Tour Start Date label control, and then we're going to place our insertion point by clicking it the second time, and we're going to put a space after Tour and a space after Start. Then finally, we want to go down to the State Abbrev, and we're going to select it, and we're going to click again, and we're going to put a space between State and Abbrev. Once we do this, we also want to go through and change the text color of the first two labels. And the first two labels are our tour number and our tour name. And we want to change these to red to make them more noticeable. And sometimes you may want to change them so that definitely the end user knows which ones of these are perhaps required information that they have to input in. So to do this, we're going to move on to step 5. And step 5 tells us that we're going to click the Tour Number label, or the Tour No label, and we're going to click on our Home tab. And of course, notice that we do have our form layout tools here with our different tabs that are highlighted in purple here, but we want to go back to our Home tab here. Once we click on our Home tab, we're going to go over here to our text formatting group. And we're going to click on the A with the line under it here, and we're going to click on the down pointing arrow, and this is the font color button. And of course, if we would click on the main color here, this is actually going to go ahead and turn this to red. Now if we would click on the down pointing arrow, we can notice that there are different standard colors and different theme colors that are applied here. But if we would just click on the standard button, whatever the color is that is in the block underneath the A is going to be the color of the text that it's going to change to when you click on it. So when we click on that, it's going to turn the text to red. So we clicked on that font color button in the text formatting group, And then next, we're going to click on the Tour Name Label control, and we're going to click on the same button again, and we're going to turn that red as well. Now, often you want to apply the same formatting enhancement to multiple controls. For an example, you decide to narrow the city and state abbreviation text boxes. And then you also want to select the text boxes at the same time to make sure that the same changes occur to both of them. And to do this, here's what we're going to do. We're going to move on to step 6. And in step 6, it tells us that we want to choose Placerville. So we're selecting the text box control here. Now, when we're selecting multiple controls, you want to press and hold the Shift key, which is our next step that's on there. And then we're going to click on the CA, which is our state abbreviation text box. Now, when you press and hold your Shift key that's on there, and you click on the controls, it's going to select multiple controls. So when you click on the Placerville or the city text box control, press and hold your Shift key, and then click on the CA text box or the state abbreviation text box, we now have both of these selected so that the two text boxes are selected at the same time. Then you can go ahead and release your Shift key. Then next, we want to use our two-headed pointer arrow, which if you would just go to the edge of the control, it will turn it to the double-headed pointer or the resizing arrow. And we can drag the right edge of this selection to the left to make the text boxes approximately half as wide. And you can just kind of estimate. If you want to, you can take it just about right to the edge of these other boxes right here. That's kind of a good estimate right there. And so we can make all of these line up. Now, the layout view for the tour's entry form should look roughly like it does in figure C-6 or as it does on your screen. Now, mouse pointers in the form layout and the form design view are very important as they indicate what happens when you drag the mouse. Now, mouse pointers are described in table C3. And generally, if you see your mouse pointer looking like this right here on there, and when does this shape appear? So when we see this, it appears when you point at any unselected control on the form. So I can move my mouse pointer at anything on here, and if it's on an unselected control or anything around here, that's going to be there. Now, of course, a single click with this mouse pointer will actually select a control that's on there. Now, when I move over top of a control, such as this, on there, or when you point to the upper left corner of an edge of a selected control in the form design view, or in the middle of a control, in this case in the form layout view, if I would drag this, or if I would click and drag with this mouse pointer the way it is, it's actually going to move my control around. And then finally, we have all the different resizing handles that's on there. So if I would select a control, I do have the left and right, which is going to resize it up to the left or the right. I do have the up and down, and also do have the diagonal ones as well. And this is when you point to any sizing handle, except the larger one in the upper left corner of the form design view. And if I would drag with one of these mouse pointers, it will actually resize my control. Now, in addition to this information, if you take a look on page Access 59, it talks a little bit about table layouts. And layouts provide a way to group several controls together on a form or report to more quickly add, delete, rearrange, resize, or line controls. Now, to insert a layout into a form or report, you select the control you want to group together, and then choose the Stacked or Tabular button on the Arrange tab. And of course, the Arrange tab is right up here. And of course, if you had multiple of these selected, like we had just a second ago, on there, we can actually go through there and we can choose the different table. We can have the stacked or the tabular, and that's where you would actually go through there and arrange those up. Now, each option applies a table layout to the controls so that you can insert, delete, merge, or split the cells in the layout to quickly rearrange or edit the controls in the layout. Now, to remove a layout, use the Remove Layout button on the Arrange tab in the Form Design view. And that concludes the information that's on pages Access 58 and 59. in which we use the form layout view. In the next video, we're going to be adding fields to a form.